Today's video, I will be sharing a story, and the person writing in is not actually an addict. They were talking about a loved one, so it's good to have a significant other's point of view on something, so we have more than just us talking about it. And I know a lot of significant others, family members, and friends watch this channel because they contact me all the time asking me questions about certain things. So let me jump in, and he says, "My name is Peter, you can use it if you want, and I wanted to discuss a few things with you. A little background, I was severely injured in a vehicle accident and have 8 herniated discs in my spine. After an unsuccessful back surgery, I was still in a tremendous amount of pain, and as a result, I was under pain management and prescribed opiates to help deal with the pain. The injury occurred at work, and I was retired. At one point, I was using a fair amount of pain meds, but realized that it was changing me and decided to stop using the meds unless I was in severe pain. It should be noted that I currently have 5 pending surgeries due to my injuries. This leads me to the reasoning why I write you. I am not an addict. However, my girlfriend is, and it's been an extremely difficult relationship. We've been dating for almost a year, and about 1 month into our relationship, I learned she was using opiates. It all came to light after she got caught making a drug transaction in my driveway. I confronted her about it and took the pills she bought. She made promises that she wouldn't do it again. A month later, I was in severe pain from my injuries and went to use my oxycodone that were prescribed from my pain management doctor and noticed that a 3-month supply bottle of oxy was gone. I spoke to my girlfriend and she admitted to stealing my meds from me and using the 3-month supply within a 2-week period. She apologized for taking them because she knows I'm in pain and said it wouldn't ever happen again. At this point, I was naive and didn't realize the severity of her addiction. I had another bottle of Oxy, 2-month supply, hidden away to use on the occasional days when my back locks up and I can't get out of bed due to the pain. Within a short period of time, that bottle went missing, and again, she admitted to taking them. As a result, I refused to refill any opiate prescriptions so that she wouldn't have access to opiates. I did this for her out of love. No matter how much pain I was in, I refused to use opiates for pain so she wouldn't be tempted to take any of my meds. As time went on, she began spending a couple $100s a day for pills and went from taking them by mouth to smoking them. It became a game of cat and mouse. I would try to find her stash of pills and get rid of them. But she was always one step ahead of me. She would cry and tell me she hated the drugs and wanted to quit. I knew she needed my help, and at the time was enrolled in college and applying for graduate school. I wanted nothing more than to get her better and help her beat her addiction. I decided to drop out of school and dedicate my time trying to help her with her addiction. She would stay at my place, and I would take care of her while she went through withdrawals. She would be clean for about a week and then start using again. It would be another weekend spent getting her through withdrawals. It became a never-ending cycle. Her habit went from smoking pills to smoking heroin. At one point, she was arrested for possession and under the influence of a controlled substance. I began seeing less and less of her because she would be driving around all day and night chasing the dealers. She would stay up for 3 to 5 days using heroin, and then come back to my place and start withdrawals for a few days. Then leave and start to cycle all over again. Her addiction was consuming my life. I was always keeping tabs on her, searching her apartment, car, and personal belongings for drugs. I had stopped going to school, the gym, which was a big part of my life, and spent less time with my son because she required so much time and energy to try to keep her from using. Even though I didn't see her often, I was doing my best to track her down and try to get her back to my place. There came a point where I told her that she needed to go into rehab or I could not be in a relationship with her. She said she would go, and we began looking at rehabs. Every rehab that we found, she had an excuse for not going. Her big concern was she was afraid of losing her apartment and car and coming back to nothing. I then decided to start working so I could pay her bills while she was in rehab. I figured if I took care of her bills, then she wouldn't have an excuse to not go to rehab. She again agreed to go. But every time she would get close to being admitted into a program, she would sabotage our relationship. Examples: cause huge arguments or do something so severe it would jeopardize our relationship. So she didn't have to go. She also started talking of suicide, and I would have long talks about why that wasn't an option. I knew if she could go to rehab, she can get her life back. This past week, I gave her an ultimatum. Either she goes to rehab, or our relationship would not continue. She cried and said she knows she needs help, and agreed to stay at my place to start withdrawals while we get her into rehab. She agreed to give me her car keys and phone, and she wouldn't be tempted to set up deals and leave. She started the withdrawals, and this time they seemed different. She was so angry and began acting irrational. She would tell me things like, "I hate you and I hope you die." She broke some things in my room and began getting physical with me. I always stayed calm and knew that she didn't mean what she was saying and doing. It was her addiction that was causing these behaviors. I did everything I could to show her love. I would try to rub her back and told her how much I loved her. Her responses were the same. F you, I hate you, get away from me, I want to leave, give me my keys and phone, I effing hate you. Nothing I did seemed to matter. It was as if she was possessed, and I felt as if I didn't know her. Now I'm going to stop right there for 1 second. That is withdrawal. I mean, what you just explained right there, the name calling, the anger, not wanting to be touched. Not everyone acts that way, but that's the way I was. Whenever I went through withdrawals, I was nasty. And when I was in the hospital for my last withdrawal, I had security all around me because nurses couldn't even come in because I was such a prick. I would throw things I was bad. So that is not so much the person, the good soul person, the person inside. That is the possession of the drugs. That is the filth coming out, and there's so much anger and resentment towards themselves that they're not strong enough as a person to take it on themselves, so they start putting it on other people. And that's what I did. I mean, I wasn't strong enough to face what I was dealing with, so I would try to take it out on other people. Then they just set up shop around and made sure security was there. So that's pretty much the way she's acting. Yesterday morning, I knew she hadn't eaten since she began vomiting the night before. Her stomach finally seemed to settle, and so I asked her what I could make or get her to eat. She began yelling at me and told me to leave her alone. So I left the room and went downstairs, hoping she would calm down. A few minutes later, I heard her walking down the stairs. Something didn't seem right. I went back upstairs and found her in the bathroom smoking heroin, and she attempted to hide it behind the trash can. I confronted her about it, and she said she didn't care and wanted to leave. I asked her numerous times why she would go through withdrawals for 3 days, only to use the heroin that she had previously hid in my room, hence resetting the withdrawal clock. She again said she didn't care and wanted to leave. This was so upsetting because I went through hell during the last few days taking care of her. I was called every name in the book. She even told me that she'd hope I died. I was also hit numerous times, and at no point did I yell at her, call her names, or physically harm her in any way. I decided to let her leave because I was afraid of what she would do if I refused her belongings. Now, you did the right thing. You can't corner somebody. I've seen it done before. I've heard many stories of people, locking somebody in a basement and not letting them leave. For the most part, that can have extremely bad consequences. The person can hurt themselves. They can hurt you. They can destroy things. If they're not ready to get clean, they're going to relapse anyway. I mean, there's a million reasons why it's in your best interest as someone, especially when she's becoming violent like she is and saying the things she is, to step back and just say, you know what? You got to do you. I'm going to do me, so on and so forth. When I went through it, like I said, I was acting the same way. I was erratic and everything else. But I knew if they gave me the option at that time to leave, I wouldn't have left. I was playing hardball. I was being nasty. But if they said, we're going to get you out of here, you could. I mean, at any time I could have left. I wasn't like I was locked in there. You know what I mean? So there was security hold. They were saying so on and so forth that, this guy can't control himself, blah, 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 blah. But at no point at that time, was I held there. Not until I explained to them that I wanted to kill myself, and then it was, bam, you ain't going anywhere, because then the state has control of you. But in this case, you did the right thing. Move away, let her do her thing. She's going to have to deal with this on her own. At this point, I have come to the conclusion that there is nothing more that I can do. You are right. I have exhausted every resource available to me and cannot think of anything else to do. Reading this, you are a good dude. Okay? For you to work to pay her bills so she can go away for rehab, that's very noble. And the amount of work you did to try to save this person and save your relationship, it shows how much you love this girl. The thing is that you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that many times. I'm sure you've heard it. So, I mean, there's no way around that. If she doesn't want help and she's going to get violent with somebody, you got to let her go. Otherwise, it's enabling. And she said, he said, I have exhausted every resource available to me and cannot think of anything else to do. Since she has left, I have not spoken to her because I know once she uses, she will be apologetic and make more promises that she won't be able to keep. I cannot handle any more lies, nor can I handle trying to get her through withdrawals again. My son lives with me, and he cannot be exposed to this, not one bit. Okay, you made the right call. I have had to deal with lies, broken promises, and no longer know what to do. How do I help someone that is in this mental state? I've answered that. How is someone in my shoes able to help or influence positive behavior? You did everything you could. Is it common for someone to be so violent and hurtful during withdrawals? Absolutely. I could really use some guidance and support right now. So I hope I answered all your questions. You did the right thing, in my opinion. There will be people that will argue it because everyone's got their own opinion. But from as many stories that I've heard in my life, it's almost impossible to force anyone to get help. And when you gave this girl every chance you possibly could in your means, I mean, there's nothing more you could do. You could sleep at night knowing you did your best to help this girl. Okay? Don't beat yourself up. Just do what's best for you and your son. I mean, you can't let somebody's addiction destroy you. You can't let their decisions destroy your life and keep you from living your life. Okay? That is extremely selfish on their part. They know it. And she will get to a point, hopefully, that where she hits her own rock bottom and will get real help. If she comes to you again to ask for help, okay, you have to make a decision right now what you're going to do. Not decide when she calls you, but right now. And I think your best bet is to say, I can no longer help you, and give them somebody else to talk to. Give her my information. Okay? But you are done, in my opinion. You've done everything you could. She knows what cards to push, what buttons to push on you, how to manipulate you, and how to work on your mental state. So I think you've exhausted everything. Okay? So if she comes to you again, I think it's best for you to say, you know what, I can't be a part of this anymore. Here are some people that can help you. And that's where you draw the line. All right? It's sad. That's the reality. Not everything's a happy ending with addiction. That's obvious. Not every story is going to be happy ending. So that's just the reality of the way this stuff is. So if you'd like to share your story, you can email me at ryan@comsupport.com. In the subject line, put YouTube story, my story. Let me know if you want to use your first or last name or stay anonymous. If you have advice for this gentleman, Peter, please share. I know plenty of you do. And I wish you well, man. You're a good guy. So take care of yourself and your son. All right? Leave some question comments below. Leave some love for Peter. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks.